Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nadi Hamsa. Now I will try to explain about our material. Title is Caretaker Speech. Caretaker speech is the language used by parents or other adults when talking to infants or young children. The three factors which influence caretaker speech are: first, making sure that children realize a speech is being addressed to them. Second, choosing the right words and sentences after getting children's attention. And three, saying things in many different ways. Three types of attention getters: name, exclamation, and modulation. Caretaker speech has several characteristics. It mainly deals with here and now to young children. It is generally spoken more slowly and distinctly. It contains simple structures and very few complex sentences, and it contains baby talk. Baby talk has three main characteristics. One, the use of diminutive form and adult words with a reduplication of a consonant vowel syllable unit. 2. The use of onomatopoeic principle to form words. And 3. The use of the ye suffix as in doggy and horsey. Caretaker speech seems particularly well suited for helping children to acquire language. It is clearer and easier to understand. Its simplified structure and vocabulary provides children with more comprehensible input. Such input is surely an important factor in the language development. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Tusmi, and I want to talk about theories language acquisition. Current studies of second language acquisition consist of 5 main hypotheses. The first is the acquisition learning hypothesis, and 2, the monitor hypothesis, and 3, the input hypothesis, and 4, the effective filter hypothesis, and the last, the natural order hypothesis. The acquisition learning distinction of the most fundamental of the 5 hypotheses is current theory and the most widely known among linguists and language teachers. According to the currents, there are 2 independent systems of the foreign language performance: the acquired system and the learned system. The monitor hypothesis explains the relationship between acquisition and learning and defines the influence of the latter of the form. According to the currents, the acquisition system is the utterance imitator, while the learned system performs the role of the monitor or the editor. The monitor acts in a plan, editing, and correcting function where 3 specific conditions are met. The first is the second language learned has sufficient and 2 time at their disposal. 3. They focus on the form of think about correctness, and last, they know the role. The input hypothesis is current attempt to explain how the learned acquires a second language. How second language acquisition takes place. The input hypothesis is only current with acquisition, not learning. According to this hypothesis, the learn involves and progress along the natural order. When he or she receives second language input, there is one step beyond his or her current state of linguistic competence. For example, if a learner is a state I. The equation takes place when he or she is exposed to compressible with the belongs to level I plus 1. Effective filter embodies currents view a number of effective variables play a facilitative but non-causal role in second language education. These variables include motivation, self-confidence, anxiety, and personality traits. Currents find the learner with high motivation, self-confidence, a good self-image, a low level of anxiety, and extroversion are better equipped from success in second language acquisition. Low motivation, low self-esteem, anxiety, introversion, and inhibition can raise the effective filter and form a mental block that prevents compressible input from being used for acquisition. Finally, the less important natural order hypothesis is based on research findings Dulay and Grant 1974, Fatman 1975, Mekino 1980, Cities is current 1987, which suggests that the acquisition of grammatical structure follow a natural order which is predictable for a given language. Some grammatical structures tend to be acquired early while others late.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Nur Sapia. Okay, I want to continue my material like this: basic requirements. Basic requirements or criteria. Bellwright Glossary definition. Bellwright Glossary for business, government, or public sector and other non-profit. The term basic requirements was first introduced in the Bellwright Glossary in 22. Basic requirements or criteria. The term basic requirements refers to the topic criteria user need to address when responding to the most central concept of an item. Basic requirements are the fundamental theme of that item. Your approach for strategy development for item. In the criteria, the basic requirements of each item are presented as the item title question. This profession is illustrated in the item format. See also the Bellwright criteria item format graphic below for additional information about basic requirements. Note blue words above are hyperlinks to others integrated glossary terms. Return to Bellwright Glossary. Bellwright criteria item format and requirements. Item format and requirements description for criteria items. You can see in the picture an example. Criteria structure. The 7 criteria categories in the Bellwright framework are subdivided into items and areas to address. Items. There are 17 criteria items in the 7 framework categories, each focusing on a major requirement. Areas to address. Items consist of one or more areas to address or areas. Organizations should address their responses to the specific requirements of the areas. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Santi, member of group 5. Okay, I will continue reading the contents of our material track 2. Acquisition schedule. All normal children develop language at about the same timetable, because we can say the same thing for sitting, crawling, standing, walking, using hands, and many other physical activities. Apparently, language acquisition schedule has the same basis as the biological determined development of motor skills. This biological schedule is closely related to the maturation of the baby brains. We can assume that the child has the biological capacity to overcome discrimination. Certain aspects of linguistic input at different stages during the early years of life long. Before children start talking, they are already actively processing what they hear. We can identify what very young children notice by the way they increase or decrease their sucking behavior in response to the sound of talking or turning their head the direction of the voice. At 1 month, for example, an infant is able to distinguish between sounds like ba and pa. During the first 3 months, children develop different styles of crying with different patterns for different needs, resulting in broad smile is response to the speaking phase and begins to make different vocalizations. Chewing and babbling. The earliest use of a speak-like sound has been described as oral during the first several months of life. The child gradually becomes able to produce sequences, vowel-like sounds, speak silly high vowels similar to E and U with 4 months. With age, the ability develops to bring the back of the tongues into regular contact with the back of sounds similar to filler consonant K and G. Hence, the general description is thumping or running for the type of production. Speech perception studies have shown that by the time they are 5 years old months, babies can hear the difference between vowel E and A and distinguish between syllables such as ba and ga. Between 6 and 8 months, the child sits and learns a certain amount of different vowel and consonant, as well as combinations such as b, ba, da, and ga, gaga. This type of sound production is described as babbling. In the later stages of babbling, around 9 to 10 months, there is a recognizable intonation pattern in consonant and the resulting vowel combinations, as well as variations in combinations such as ba, da. No sounds are also becoming more common, and certain syllable sequences are like ma, and da can't help but be interpreted by parents as versions of ma and da and repeated back to the child. Stage 1 word. Between 12 and 18 months, children begin to produce a recognizable 30 single unit speech. This period, traditionally called the 1 word stage, is characterized by utterance where singular terms are spoken for colloquial objects such as milk, cake, cat, cup, and spoon, usually pronounced spoon. Stage 2 words. Depending on what we count as occurrences of 2 different words used together, the 2 words stage can begin around 18 to 20 months. As a child vocabulary moves beyond 50 words by the time a child is 2 years old. various combinations like a baby chair, mommy eat, cat bed usually there appear. The interpretation of such a combination, of course, are numerous tied to the context of their speak. Telegraph speak between 2 and 2.5 years. The child begins to earn a lady among.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Nasra, English Education 2019. Well, in this video, I would like to explain about stage of first language acquisition. There are 4 main stages of normal language acquisition. The first, the babbling stage, the holoprestic or one-word stage, the two-word stage, and the telegraphic stage. Okay, the first, the babbling stage. Within a few weeks of being born, the baby begins to recognize its mother's voice. There are 2 sub-stages within this period. The first occurs between birth 8 months. Most of this stage involves the baby reading its surroundings, and only during 5 until 8 months period does the baby begin use its vocals. During the months, the baby hears sounds around them and tries to produce them, albeit within limited success. The baby's attempts at reading, creating, and experimenting with sounds is what we call babbling. When the baby has been babbling for a few months, it begins to relate the word or sound it is making to object or thing. This is the second sub-stage. From 8 months to 12 months, the baby gains more and more control over not only its vocal communication, but physical communication as well, for example, body language and gesturing. The second, holoprestic or one-word stage. The second stage of language acquisition is holoprestic or one-word stage. This stage is characterized by one-word sentences. This stage nouns make up around 50% of the infant's vocabulary, while verb and modifiers make up around 30 and questions and negative make up the rest. This is one-word stage contains single word utterances such as play for I want to play now. Infants use the sentence primarily to obtain things they want or need, but sometimes they aren't. They are obvious. For example, a baby may cry or say "mama" when it probably wants attention. The infant is ready to advance to the next stage when it is speaking in successive and word sentences. The third, two-word stage. The two-word stage, or as you may have guessed, is made of primarily two-word sentences. The sentences contain one word for the predicate and one word for the subject. For example, Dougie work for the sentence, the dog is being walked. During this stage, we see the appearance of single modifiers. The dog, two-word question. For example, mommy eat, and the addition of the suffix into words to describe something they currently happening. For example, baby sleeping. The next, telegraphic stage. The final stage of language acquisition is telegraphic stage. This is stage This stage is named as iris because it is similar to what is seen in a telegram containing just enough information for the sentence to make sense. This stage contains many 3 and 4 word sentences. Sometime during this stage, the child begins to see the links between word and object, and therefore overgeneralization comes in. Some examples of sentences in the telegraph stage are "Mommy eat carrot." What is her name? And he is playing football. During this stage, a child's vocabulary expands from 50 words up to 13,000 words. At the end of this stage, the child starts to incorporate plurals, joining words, and attempt to get a grip on tenses. As all human beings do, children will improvise something they cannot yet do. For example, when children come across an error and sound they cannot produce, they replace it with a sound they can. For example, soap for soap and run for run. These are just a few examples of resourceful children are. Even in our eyes, it is just cute. I think that's all from me. Thank you.